Hello and welcome to Late to the Party Movie Reviews. We review movies that are a minimum of 10 years old and see how they hold up today. With us, judging these movies from the Fat Collectibles crew, we have got
Liz
and Josh.
All right, and from Great Scott! and from Comic Cave,
I'm Isaac.
I'm Jason.
And I'm Jose.
All right, welcome. And then I'm your host, Nate the Great from Collection Connection. All right, today we are reviewing Phantasm. Phantasm came out, believe it or not, in the 70s.
Oh, so I believe it.
It's almost 10 years older than our last review, which was Hellraiser. So Phantasm has got... Woo, wrong page. Phantasm. It's got a 74 on Rotten Tomatoes from the critics, or 72 from the critics, 74 from the fans. And let's see, starring Angus Scrimm as the tall man, A. Michael Baldwin as Mike, Reggie Bannister as Reggie, Bill Thornbury as Jody, and Kathy Lester as the Lady in Lavender. This budget was $300,000, and the box office was $12 million. So this movie made money.
Whoa!
Came out June 1st, 1979. I think it's like first of all, whether or not you love this movie or hate this movie, what about that soundtrack? That spooky piano music, it was like there before, I want to say, I think that's where Halloween got their do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. It was on Phantasm first. So this was kind of like a precursor to the big launch of all of those next level horror movies. Before this, you really had like the Vincent Price Dracula style movies, and this was kind of like the springboard to, you know, Halloween, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street. So we'll kick off with some of our questions. We'll start with the Scots. Does this movie still hold up, or is it hopelessly dated?
Yeah, hopelessly dated. I've seen the movie before, but it was a long time ago. I was probably like 10 when I saw it. I got bored with it again, and there are certain elements that were fine, but like the special effects are really cool, and that little twist story ending of who the little creature guys were. I mean, there was a fun little things, but dude, it was too much. Like the acting, no, and no.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that.
You know what? It wasn't made for me. Apparently it was made for guys. This is a guy movie. This is not a girl movie at all. And no.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree. This movie was pretty dated. It felt old. And it also felt rough. And I think that the budget kind of reflects that. There was a lot lacking, and it certainly could use a lot of work. I think maybe some of the concepts could be rolled out and made for a modern audience, but man, it was a struggle. I'll just put it that way.
All right, Isaac?
Yeah, it was boring. At first I was intrigued because I saw breast assist right away in the film, but then I was thrown off. By the sex scene. Like you see legs like laying down, and then they go around and you see that the chick's on top, and it's like, how's the chick on top with her legs the way she is? So that was pretty weird. And then it was just boring.
I asked myself the same thing.
I was intrigued with the Jawas. The Jawas showed up from Star Wars, so that was cool. But the little ball showing up maybe once or twice was cool. Other than that, it was just a boring movie. I think I passed out like maybe 3 or 4 times during this movie, But when the music would get crazy is when I woke up, and that's when I was like, okay, something's going on. But yeah, it wasn't as interesting as I thought it was, because I've never seen the movie. I thought I've seen the movie, but I guess I never saw it because I only saw the box at the video stores, and that's why I thought I saw the movie many years ago. But no,
Yeah,
it's
that
very
box
dated.
art's pretty dope, though.
But that music, like you said, the music probably was really cool. And it did bring forth the generation of slash films that we grew up to love. But this is not a movie I grew up to love because I never watched it.
Jose.
Listen, man, you opened up the movie with some boobies, and I gave those boobies a solid 8 out of 10. They had me right from the beginning. They I was the targeted audience, and they hooked me. They did everything right to get me in. That really weird line that they were walking between science and horror was pretty dope. And then about halfway through, we get more boobies. So the boobies just really did it for me.
So the boobies kept the movie from being dated for you, and would still hold up today. I mean, boobs are an all-time hold-up, then, right?
They are, man. If boobies were a stock, they'd be all-time high throughout the entire ability. They have their normal pullbacks, but they're still high. No, but honestly speaking, it was really dated. I'm shocked that you're saying that maybe I'm not shocked that it launched the what we ended up getting with Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, and all those. I don't know how. I mean, I guess at that time there wasn't much going on. And what year did it come out?
79.
79. Yeah, for it to be made off of $300,000 and then make $12 million, that's an amazing return.
Well, that was a big launch. To this day, horror movies are a tremendous investment because they don't have to be that great. They have a certain fan following, and they can make a ton of money.
But I can see why it would make that money, and why even just word of mouth would be like, oh, you got to go see this movie. It's so cool. Because it was, it's kind of like Isaac said. It had those little dudes showing up, and then the twist. It had a twist. It had like 2 twists. I'm not sure if this is the first time we got it was all a dream twist.
They J.R. Ewing'd us to keep it in that time frame.
Okay. Yeah, like that whole thing was kind of annoying. I've always found those annoying, but I'm thinking back. I mean, this was in the 70s. The whole science fiction aspect of it was pretty cool. Like it was just like a melting pot of so many things being thrown in at once, and I can see how in the 70s that would have been really cool.
Well, I mean, you look at what's the precursor to it. The precursor to that movie is like the Universal movies, where like, yeah, for sure.
Well,
Night of the Living Dead
no,
was a good precursor to that one.
Didn't not Poltergeist? Didn't Exorcist come out before this?
Mm.
Now there's a horror movie.
Oh yeah, for sure. We just couldn't get it streaming. I mean, I got it written on I got it written on the list over here. I got a bunch of cool stuff on the list. Every time before we start this, I sit here for an hour looking at, man, I wish we could get this and I wish we could get that. But
no, my point was I think Exorcist came out before Phantasm did. So
but does Exorcist lead into the Nightmare on Elm Street, Jason? Does it's I mean,
it's two different kinds of horror.
Yeah, it's a different lane, Exorcist, like The Omen came out before this too, and The Omen's a solid horror movie as well, but it's still a different lane, in my opinion. I mean, this movie leading into that's not written by anybody. That's just my opinion that it happened. I mean, Siskel and Ebert didn't say that this is the harbinger of horror. That was just what I had to say about it. Okay, and Lego. How is this movie? Is it dated? Does it hold up?
Phantasm is fantastic, guys. No, honestly, if it's only fantastic if you cut out. I think I was looking. The runtime is about 129 minutes. If you made that movie 25 minutes, it'd be prime. the
25 minutes
majority
less,
of
or a total of 25 minutes?
that. All I need left is 25 minutes. There's only 25 minutes of interesting content. Everything else can kind of get cut.
An episode of Tales from the Crypt.
Yes.
There you
yeah.
go.
Okay.
That would have been sweet. That would have been so good. There was cool stuff like with the mausoleum. That set was cool. Like in the first 100 minutes, the only like really like interesting shot was like the mausoleum, and then when that like kid was breaking into the basement, he was like framed interestingly in like the window, and it was all black around him, and that was like, oh, that's painterly and cool, and like that would be an interesting image to look at. And then at the end, like at like 110 minutes, that's when it started getting like, oh, there's things happening, there's cars blowing up, there's like people going into other worlds, we're seeing Jawa slaves, like that's when shit goes off the hook. And like that's all I needed. Like if you would have cut all the rest of the nonsense out, like I would have been so good with just with those last like grouping.
You're not thinking about cutting out those boobies, are you?
No, boobies are essential. Don't touch the
The
boobies.
movies can stay. I mean,
Right.
Boobies.
gotta get those ratings up. Gotta get something up. You know what I'm saying?
Talk about like
Hey now.
Hello.
I think that the movie could hold up today if they were to upgrade the acting. They would really have to upgrade the editing for sure. Like Lego said, there's some non-essential parts in there, and I don't want to say. I want to save this for when I do. I'm going to save this next thought for when I do my ratings on it, because I do have a diatribe on this movie that kind of holds over from Hellraiser as well, and why this movie is endearing to me to this day. But I'll get back to that when we get to the bucket time. Okay, back to the deck of the Enterprise. The most memorable part. Mr. or Mrs. Scott, you have the helm.
Memorable part. Yeah. Josh, take it away. It's just like
there were a couple of scenes that were kind of interesting. I was really puzzled by this kid going to visit like some creepy old lady fortune teller.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't really understand what the heck that was. It was initially I thought like, oh, he's visiting like a friend and like a friend's mom or something, and then it gets really like weird and creepy, and I'm like, what in the hell is going on? And then it really never comes up again, you know?
No, that was to teach him to not fear, to put his hand in the box, to put his hand into the portal of the other world.
I get that.
The Dune.
My point
What
is-
a Dune ripoff right there.
I know, right?
I saw that and I was
thank
like,
you.
oh, this motherfucker's reading some Frank Herbert. Okay.
He's from House Atreides.
I also like the part where the tall man is walking down the street and then he has like this like erotic moment with the cold that was coming out of the back of the ice cream truck. That was kind of
My favorite scene. You stole it.
yeah. So I would go with those two, but for sure, there were no memorable scenes with the two lead actors in it. Those were the least sympathetic protagonists in the history of filmmaking, I think.
If you keep watching this, what do you call it, anthology or whatever it is, if you watch all the Phantasms, those guys get killed off, and they go with Reggie, the bald ice cream man. He becomes the protagonist because he's far more interesting. So they did catch that, and they made their edits on it. All right, let's go to the cave. Isaac.
So, like Josh said, my favorite was seeing the tall man walking through the town and getting all sexy in front of that ice cream truck. And then you see the ice cream man from Image Comics Ice Cream Man show up, and I was like, "Oh, dude, the ice cream man! Damn, this is a comic."
Right.
And that was the
I wonder if it's the same ice cream man that abducted
I don't think
Anthony.
so, but yeah, that was the only thing that really stuck out. The Jawas, and of course the boobies, but I'm not gonna go there. That's a Jose.
That's probably the most memorable thing for me is seeing the boobies.
And it wasn't just like,
right there.
it was just straight the boobies, like no
Right.
no fucking anything else but 2 round silicone balls in the front of the screen. That was it.
Right. There you go.
They weren't even silicone back then. In the 70s,
They
those were all natural.
That was natural, baby.
look so
I can tell.
All right, Jose, your favorite scene? Was it the boobies? Spoiler alert.
It was actually no.
There you go.
No, see, I was like, I actually enjoyed. It was kind of corny, but my favorite. I like how Lego said when they were filming the kid breaking into the mausoleum. But when he goes into the room with the caskets, and he jumps into it, and he uses the lighter to keep it up. And like that dude that comes in with the coat, like not even messing around. He doesn't do let me check the other ones first. He just straight goes to that one. He's about to lift it. And then the tall guy walks in. I don't know. I thought that was pretty cool. Then it's like you said, the little soundtrack that plays along with it. It was like, okay, they're trying to create a moment here. So I gave it an A for effort.
It's
Lego?
funny that you,
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's funny that he brings up that scene because, he prepares to go in and like straps this giant knife on his lower leg. And then he goes into this dark room and all he's got is this damn lighter to light up the place. And I'm like, what a schmuck. He didn't bring a flashlight or something, but then he jumps in the coffin and uses it to keep the coffin open. I'm like, never mind. He's a smart kid.
Fun fact about silicone breasts: they did invent them in 1962, so they were a thing.
Woo!
Oh,
I'm
wow.
a booby expert.
I didn't see any underneath scars, though.
They did them around the nipple too.
You know what?
Then?
This movie might require a second viewing.
The joke's on you guys. It's really a dude, so.
Really big.
That's
dude.
probably why they like it so much. Lego?
Whoa.
Most memorable part, Lego?
Fun fact: this is the Wachowski brothers sisters' favorite movie. Just had to throw that in there.
Thank you.
God, my favorite part. I really liked the. I liked when they were touching the fork dimensions, the poles. That felt very like. It almost felt like 2001: Space Odyssey, where it was weird and like kind of psychedelic, and they went like through the portal, and when that kid was floating in the red, and then the guy like had the connection with like the tuning fork, and he touched it, and for me that was cool. I felt like that was the part of the movie that I felt like resonated, and it was just
No pun intended.
Yes, it was a nice moment, and I felt like. I feel like that was the good parts of the movie that they were trying to put forth, and maybe some of the other stuff didn't get thought out as well. So that's what stuck with me.
Going last, I can't believe that I didn't think I was going to be able to put mine out there going last, but it's the silver flying ball that hunts people in the mausoleum, sticks into their head and drills the brain out. Dude, that was the shit that gave me nightmares in the 80s, man. And that's it for me. It's the silver ball. It's not just a Christmas ornament. It's a death device. So it's kind of like a MacGuffin or whatever, like the MacGuffin that the puzzle boxes were for Hellraiser.
Did they explain that ball thing later on in further movies? Because I haven't seen any of the sequels to this, but did they explain? I mean, I'm assuming it just comes from the other planet or dimension or whatever, but like, what's the purpose of it other than to drill your brain out?
Go ahead.
Okay, so those silver spheres, what does everybody think of those? Because I would be really interested to hear what everyone's take is, because some people seem to think they're the coolest things ever, they're mysterious, others don't like them. What are your guys' take?
I thought it was Go-Go from Kill Bill had lost one of her little
Spear balls.
That's what I thought when I first saw it. But
She kicked too hard.
I had seen it before that, so It was cool,
Went off.
mysterious. They
I like that they're
had more of
they're-
it.
yeah they're killer balls. Like they literally kill you. I'm like it's I thought that was pretty dope. Like I mean I don't know. Star Wars had stormtroopers that kept messing up. These little balls, they didn't have that problem. So
Cool.
I don't know what the hell they were. Just know that once they latch on, they drill something and like all of the blood in your entire body comes out of that little spigot in the front. That's about it. That's what I was saying, is that was one of those like things. It's like, it's an interesting thing, but what did it come from? The other dimension? But then if this is all just a dream, then what's that supposed to represent in his dream mind? Because remember, this is all supposed to be quote unquote a dream, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, it was cool the 2 times that it showed up in there, and I know that everybody, my cousin, he was a huge Phantasm fan. He was just like, "Oh, this ball's just great," and I'm like, "What does it do? What I mean, like the lament
You have to
box,
have your
at
uncle
least
come
the
from
lament
Thailand
box,
and show you the
like,
movies all in a
opens
row.
up to another dimension. This thing is just floating around. Like, did the tall man release him? Is it like the security like system for the house or something? The mausoleum that he's in? Because is it a spaceship or that he's on? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
I was pretty underwhelmed by it. It features so prominently on a lot of the box artwork for the Phantasm movies that you think like, oh, this is like this like centerpiece, this thing that kind of like that's like the bad guy or the will of the bad guy or something like this. And then it has like 2 scenes in the movie that are almost like not memorable at all, and it gets blown away by that schmuck Jody and his stupid shotgun. And I'm just like, that's it? I mean, literally, I was so disappointed. I'm like, I thought this thing was going to be like grinding him down in the woods or something, and it's gone.
Do we ever see the tall man with the sphere? I don't think so. The times that it just starts zipping around the mausoleum the first time you see it.
I think he looks at it at one point, but I don't think anything like, he doesn't interact with it.
Yeah, my theory is it's the security system for the the mothership or whatever the hell that house is supposed to like be. That's my theory.
Nice.
Okay. They digging deeper. You just have to have your uncle come over with all the VHS tapes, and you got to watch them all in a row while hopped up on ice cream and like soda.
That's the trick.
Cool.
Diabetes.
Well, what'd you think it was?
Me?
I was personally underwhelmed. I thought it was as effective as somebody pulling a kitchen knife out of the board and throwing it at someone. It was really not cool, I didn't think. I don't know. I was not super impressed. And like Josh said, it had so much prominent like box art, and I'd heard people talk about, oh, there's these spheres, these silver spears, and I was like, oh, okay, cool, like there's going to be something interesting happening, but there was no otherworldly dimension. It just seemed like a knife that kind of cut you and you died. It was more interesting watching the guy piss himself after he died. The spear rather than watching the blood drip out, in my opinion. I don't know. I didn't find them that interesting.
And it didn't even drip out. It was like a fire hose. Like it just went. It kind of like came out a little bit. And it was all. It was just this like straight. Yeah, dude. Like it just went on forever. It was almost like a Army of Darkness. Like all the blood just comes out.
That was my thought too. I remember the scene from the pit when they throw the first guy into the pit in Army of Darkness, and there's this fountain of blood that's got to be like 100 gallons, and then this thing like lodges in this schmuck's head, and like there's this gout of blood, and I'm like, how much is in this dude?
You know who has the most blood was Johnny Depp in Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh
Fred
man.
yeah.
pulls him into the bed, and then it goes, all his guts and stuff goes shooting into the sky out of the center of the bed. I was like, wow, he's a pretty little dude right there to have, 40 acres and a mule worth of blood inside of him.
Anyway. All right.
Anyway,
the sphere scenes get better, Lego. Once he had his $30 million from the first movie, he took that money and he reinvested it into the movies, and the sphere stuff gets better, and the little Jawas get better, and the tooting fork hell passages get better, and the tall man gets better, and there's even more boobies, and they're even attached to pretty faces.
oh man,
So it gets better.
Maybe we'll do a part 2.
Maybe. I mean, when we, like I said, if we're doing one of these a week, there's 52 weeks in a year. We're going to get into the lane of sequels down the road a little bit. And when we do, I'll be picking, it'll be a mystery when we have our choices for sequels during horror season next year. If it's Hellraiser 2, Poltergeist 2, or Phantasm 2, which choices we get to make in a row for that one. It gets better. It gets better, I promise. Either that or I'm an idiot. Maybe I'm an idiot.
Good thing we're recording.
Yeah, but I have the ultimate say on the edit that goes out, right? So
That's right. Son of a...
let's go through it with the buckets then. Scott's let's see how low can you go with buckets, man? Because we've still been generous recently.
He died in 2016.
Oh, so right before that movie came out, he was probably dying when they were making it.
Probably.
They weekend at Bernie's and probably for that. So it just fit. Buckets. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a solid 2. Because honestly, this movie was not. Because I did some of the reading, I read up after I watched the movie. I read up a little bit on it, and this movie wasn't. It was made for pre-teen, teenage boys. It specifically says that, and the director even said that this is not a movie that's supposed to capture a female audience. So I was not the target audience via age or gender in this one.
So the boobies didn't hook you in.
No, because I look at boobies every day, so I got a set of my own, guys. But they just don't impress me as well as they impress you guys. But it just wasn't. Yeah, because it wasn't for me. It's not that it was a bad movie. And I think it could be remade today with different upgrade on everything. But the director himself, he wrote it, he directed it, he did he did the music, he did everything for this. This was his pet project, and he was trying to convey a certain message and a certain thing, I guess, and it just wasn't for me.
You weren't taken in by Jodie's sweet singing and guitar playing?
No, sorry.
No.
It just doesn't. Yeah, it didn't do it for me.
So
tight jeans, no.
So I think this movie is probably going to also, for me, score 2 buckets. It's not the worst film I've ever seen, but it's pretty darn close. I would like to say that this will amend my Hellraiser review from 4 buckets to 5 buckets, though, because I can see that you can actually do worse. So anyway, yeah, no, not good.
I'm going at 3.
Isaac?
3. I don't have anything else besides. I'm not going to be that rough and give it 2. I'll give it 3 because I know there is a big following to it, and like I said, I saw the box many years ago and thinking, since I saw that box, I had seen the movie. But when I finally watched the movie, I had never seen the movie.
Maybe you blocked it out.
Maybe.
Jose?
Traumatic memories being repressed.
I'm probably going to follow the Scots and go with the 2. Reason being,
one for each. One.
No, one for each of the times I had to watch it because I fell asleep the first time, and I was wide awake. I had just chugged a Red Bull, and I was, and it knocked me out, man. I think it was during the singing. It was like a lullaby to me, and it just knocked me out. And then I came back, and I was pissed. And I was pissed too because when I woke up, I'm like, oh man, the rest of the movie played. What the hell? So I had to go back, start it over, fast forward, get to the part, and then just start it again. And I'm like, oh, if then the movie hasn't done that in a while for me. So yeah, man.
Yeah, not since Monty Python for me.
This guy.
All right, Lego. Drum roll.
Well, up until this point, we have had 10 buckets out of 10 buckets. We've had so many good movies. And, oh my, I hate you guys for making me do this because I just want to keep giving 10s. I want to give 10s forever. Everybody deserves an A for effort, gold stars.
Was this a participation buckets?
So it doesn't count.
It counts. It counts. It counts. I can't give this one a 10, guys. I'm sorry. I wanted to. I really.
What?
I'd never seen it before. I really wanted to give it a 10. I see the bare bones efforts. There's thought behind it. Somebody did care about what was going into it, but the majority of the film was bad. At least 70% of the film was bad. I got to give it like 3 buckets. 3 buckets.
Stop.
There was some cool stuff. There was cool stuff, and I really try to focus on that positive, but just so much was boring. So much could have been cut, and yeah, it's not a 10 today.
So here's what I'm going to be basing my score on. Okay, there's the musical component, which I think some of you guys agree the music was pretty good. The main villain, dude, the tall guy was creepy as fuck. He's got you. Tall guy's creepy. All right, the setting, most of the settings were kind of cheap and whatnot, but I think they were onto something with the mausoleum. Okay, and if, like Liz was saying, if their target audience was exactly me at the age I was when I saw the movie, then the boobies, right? So if I'm 12 years old, it's got a scary guy, it's got the mausoleum, it's got this silver killer ball flying through the air, it's got the set of the mausoleum. There's at least 3 decent, I don't want to say great, but decent jump scares in the movie. And so based on those things and seeing it when I did, you know, it could be upgraded. I'm still gonna leave it with 5 buckets. Wow. And I had my revelation was this. All right, my revelation was this. When I want to say between 12 and 16, I had an uncle that moved to live with us from Thailand. And while he was living with us, he learned how to speak English by playing video games and renting horror movies. So he would get these movies, and they were all older by that time, and he wouldn't just bring one. He would bring Hellraiser 1, 2, and 3. And we would watch them I would have slumber parties with my buddies, and we would watch them all back to back on like a Saturday night or a Friday night while we're eating popcorn and high off of soda and ice cream and bouncing off the walls, you know, and hanging out with all my buddies, seeing the boobies. Like you miss out on the scope of these, especially these 2 movies, because you're only seeing like that first cut. It's like that first entryway for these people into that, and then when the second one comes out, they have the success of the first one. They get a little bit more money behind them. They get some fans behind them. It's like what Lucas was able to do with his budget for Empire Strikes Back over Star Wars. Like, okay, wow, I can flesh out my ideas better. I can spend a little bit more on this. And so my original exposure to these, first of all, I was in the right demographic, like Liz said. But second of all, I got to see at least one. I got to see at least 2 of them when they came out, if not 3. And then I saw a bunch of Nightmare on Elm Street movies this way. I saw the Sleepaway Camp movies this way. You know, so like it just, I still got nostalgia with these. And watching it again, if I would have to use my memory to give these movies, both Hellraiser and Phantasm, a rating, then my memories would have gave it like an 8 or 9. I'm hard pressed to give a 10 to movies, but me seeing them again, being like, oh shit, man, how do you run so fast in those bell bottoms? That can't be aerodynamic, just because I was like sitting there like, why did I think these movies were good? They're fucking horrible. So I had to like go back and forth in my mind, like, how did I see them? Why wasn't, you know what I mean? Because even when I was thinking about Hellraiser, I'm like, wow, if you watch Hellraiser 2, it seems like they filmed that movie in halves, and it's very sequential. So it seems like, it's a right and a left that go together. So, and Phantasm's the same way. So that's my deal for that. So now that we've run through the buckets on that one, this has been our most horrible movie so far, across the board for everybody. I want to say, except for the 4 I gave to your guys' darling for Force Newses for Holy Grail. But
how dare you?
We have 2 lanes we can go into for next week. We have a blockbuster lane, or we can finish up and just knock out the trifecta and try to end on a higher note with Poltergeist, because I know Poltergeist has to be better than I remember. Poltergeist has to be better. I know that. I don't know. What do you, Josh? You have a little bit of personal ties with Poltergeist. What do you think, man?
Well, I mean, yeah, obviously for me, I'd be willing to go back and watch Poltergeist. I mean, I've seen it a number of times. It's probably been like 20 years since the last time I watched it, but I went to school briefly with Heather O'Rourke back in 2nd grade. So that had to be like 1982 or something like that. So it's not long after the movie was done. Interesting thing about that is that she showed up and like all the kids knew right away who she was, but she was going by a different name. And she was denying that she was the girl from Poltergeist, but she was getting dropped off in a friggin' limo. It's a dead giveaway. So anyway,
so you guys want to?
I'd be down for that.
What do you think, Caveman?
What was the other movie?
If we're gonna have to we got to abandon Poltergeist before I throw the other 2 up there. It's something different or Poltergeist, but I don't want to let you have specific choices.
I want choices.
Lego?
I like the choice, present the 2 pills, please, because no. Poltergeist, honestly, that's fine with me. I'm good with Poltergeist. I could do that. And I don't think that's going to be a 10 for me. It's been a while, but I don't think it's going to be a 10. So
what? Stop. Goob.
I wouldn't mind talking about that. I like old horror. I like to talk about old horror, so I'm down with that.
I think Spielberg was involved in making Poltergeist. I don't know how it can't be a 10 out of 10 for you.
Well,
I do think Poltergeist is a good one to read up on.
But
Jose?
What's that?
He fell asleep.
Any sign of Jose?
Jose, boobs.
Yes. Yes. So talking about the movies again. Just kidding. I wasn't listening. What was the question? I'm totally kidding.
For real?
I'm okay with finishing it up with Poltergeist. Let's finish up the horror and then jump into some blockbusters as soon as we're finished with that. Because
how are we finishing up with horror when we're going into the fall season with Halloween coming up? Shouldn't we just be going horror all the way now?
Yeah.
What we're doing is we're thinking in advance here. We gotta keep a leg up. Think about where you work, dude. We're already doing one season. We got to be thinking about the next.
That's right. It's almost Christmas.
There you go.
I'm thinking.
Is that old enough?
Thinking for right around Halloween. Right around Halloween, we will have the Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th.
Hocus
I
Pocus.
think that those movies will be.
Focus,
Focus,
man.
focus.
Oh man, I'm not.
We gotta
I'll
watch
be
Hocus
absent
Pocus.
from that one.
We
We
gotta.
don't talk about Hocus Pocus. I don't know what we're doing.
I know. We gotta watch Hocus Pocus.
We gotta watch Hocus Pocus.
That's
You
gonna
got
be
the
for
budget
like
for-
February.
Stop it.
No, but I'm thinking on Halloween. Those other movies, the real ones, should be available for streaming then.
Hopefully.
So for the week of Halloween, we can do like a Halloween special and find out what's up with that. Hopefully, we'll be able to get one of those three. Maybe Texas Chainsaw might be in there. Maybe Exorcist. Maybe Omen. There, we probably have broader choices come actually October. So that's why I shifted out of it, because I was looking. I'm like, dude, there's Pumpkinhead. I mean, we can keep on going. There's like
The
a Child's Play
original
remake.
Candyman. Ooh.
Yeah, Candyman was in there too, but
And why don't we talk
I
about
don't know.
Leprechaun?
Yes, House.
Wicked.
Leprechaun.
Wicked.
Night of the
That's
Living
right.
Dead.
How about something exciting like Demon Night?
Demon Night.
Demon Knight would be good, but is it streaming? I didn't see it streaming, so I'm shooting for
I have it on DVD, so
yeah.
I feel like a lot of these too, like, I don't know if you guys have Plex accounts, but I could upload a movie to a Plex account that we could all watch it from. And I'm not saying that they're coming from the Pirate Bay, but they might be pirated. So
Maybe.
we could do something like that if we're if we can't find it somewhere else.
hey, if we're gonna do like a Halloween thing, like the night before the Friday of, we should do something where we all get together and do it.
I would like to do something like that. We can do some spooky cosplay with it or two, possibly.
There you go.
Like that mask Jose's wearing right now. How'd you get the fangs to stick in like that?
Sorry, I wasn't listening. What did you say?
Okay, so Liz, what do you think? Poultrygeist, the haunted chicken, or do we shift to Blockbuster?
Let's do the shift.
Whoa.
So
I mean,
Liz is for the
I've
shift.
seen Poltergeist so many times. Like, I think I have that movie memorized. But I don't know about the, like, I don't want to, just pay. But I'm good for a shift.
Okay, so that's 2-1. That would make Isaac be the tiebreaker. And, geez, I'm not going to tell you the choice. So you're going to have to go with Poltergeist or Whole New Lane, Isaac.
Let's just stick with Poltergeist.
Okay. All right, now that we decided on Poltergeist, we'll be doing that next week. We'll wrap this up, and I'll tell you guys what the Whole New Lane is offline, so that people can wait in suspense for next week to see what the lane was. Catch us next week. That's our hook. All right, for Late to the Party reviews, I'm Nate the Great. We'll see you next week.
Liz?
And Josh?
I'm Isaac.
Jason.
And boobies.
All right, we'll see you folks next week.